After I arrived, my family came to pick me up at the airport. It was a short ride to my hometown. Took about 20 or 25 minutes to get there. Antonio Maceo, one of the leaders of the War of Independence, is buried here. The left rear tire of the car we were driving started to fall off, but not a problem. We fixed it and we were back on our way. We finally arrived at my hometown of La Salud. This is the house where I was born. The streets have changed a lot. There is no longer any asphalt, just a lot of dirt and rocks. We used to play a lot of marbles and run around the neighborhood, but obviously we can't do that anymore. This is my father's friend. He built this contraption all on his own. Necessity at times allows people to be very creative. Hey, it gets the job done. Streets and sidewalks have eroded with time and they don't get repaired. There's also no drainage system. This barber's chair belonged to my dad when we lived in Cuba. I got my hair cut here many, many times. My cousin keeps the chair in the back of his house. As I walk around the town, I can't believe that I am actually here. This used to be the town's movie theater. The roof collapsed and it hasn't been fixed, so the town currently does not have a theater. Next door to the theater is the town's social club, or La Sociedad. This house belongs to Teodosio. He's the town's priest. This is one of the town's markets. This is another store in the town. In this store, you have to use a denomination called CUC. So you have to exchange dollars or any other type of denomination into a CUC in order to purchase items here. This used to be the town's bank, and next door to it was the police station. A new police station has been built next door to the old one. I used to spend my days as a kid walking around this neighborhood. This gas station over here used to be a mechanic shop as well, and my cousin was the mechanic. These railroad tracks bring back a lot of memories. And here's the baseball stadium in my hometown. Me and my friends used to come here every day after school and play baseball. This was our favorite hangout. For being a small town, it appears to be quite busy. This is El Parquecito de José Martí. I am amazed that the house behind it is still standing. This is another one of the town's markets. It has been here for many, many years. This is the town's child care center. I spent a few years when I was a little baby in this place. Somehow I remember it quite vividly. I went to school here up to the 3rd grade. This is where I went to school for the 4th and 5th grade. And here's where I went to school for the sixth grade. The building looks the same as it did 33 years ago. This is the principal's office. I spent a lot of time here. And this was my classroom. Right now is summer, so the kids are not in school. On the second day, I decided to visit my aunt in a town called Kivikan. We had to hitch a ride. Eventually someone stops and picks you up, and that's how you move from place to place. However, that driver could only go so far, so we stopped and waited for the bus. A few minutes later, the bus came and we were on our way to Kivikan. When I was a kid, my aunt worked at this cafeteria for many years. This used to be a shoe factory, and my dad worked here when he was a little kid. The town of Kivikan is a little bit bigger than La Salud, so the streets are a lot busier. But it amazes me how much traffic there is in the town. This used to be a pizzeria many years ago. This used to be an ice cream shop, and we used to love to come here on Sundays. Across the street is the park. The park is always really busy on the weekends. This is the town's movie theater. I remember watching the movie Jaws here when it first came out. Playing marbles on the streets is still one of the favorite pastimes for kids in Cuba. We used to play marbles all the time. It kept us out of the house and outside doing exercises. What happens here brings back so many memories. But it's all fun and games. Kids have disagreements, and that's fine. It's all just part of growing up. Here, no one worries about getting stabbed or getting shot. I get to my aunt's house and I walk up to her. Keep in mind, she has not seen me in 33 years. She has no idea who I am. She tells me that I look familiar, but she can't really tell who I am. Needless to say, it was quite emotional to see her after 33 years. One of our friends raises pigs and keeps them in his house. I went to this school for the 7th grade. Each morning I had to take a bus from my hometown of La Salud to Kivican. This is my classroom up here on the right. Everything to me is like stepping back into time because everything, the classrooms, the way the chairs are set up and the tables, looks exactly as it did 33 years ago. The words written here are the words to the Cuban national anthem. This is Jose Marti. He is the equivalent of America's George Washington. He was a poet and the father of the revolution. This is the guanabana fruit. I had not eaten this in 33 years. I walk around town and just try to visit some of the sites that I used to visit when I was a kid. I try to take it all in and see the changes that have taken place in 33 years, since 1980. A lot of the things are pretty much still the same. At least the structures are all still there. Some of the businesses are no longer there. For instance, this used to be the ice cream shop. They no longer sell ice cream here. This is the town's pharmacy. And this is the shoe factory where my dad used to work as a little kid. Right across the street is the town's movie theater that we saw earlier. Right next door to it is the town's social club. On the roof of the town's social club used to be where all the kids would get together and we would attend karate school. It brings so many memories walking up these stairs, just like I did 33 years earlier. And this is where we would practice karate, barefooted, with no protection whatsoever, 5 days a week. After visiting my aunt, we went to the entrance to the town and just waited for someone to come by and give us a ride. Hitching a ride is something that's very common in Cuba. Sometimes it's the only way to get around, since the buses don't really have a set schedule and they don't always show up. This is the Ceiba of Buenaventura. I waited for the bus many times under this tree. As we drive back into the town of La Salud, I look at all the buildings and the different homes that have been built since I left. Many of them, however, were there when I left Cuba. This is the town's clinic right here on the left. These buildings across the street were brand new when I left Cuba in 1980. This is the town's tobacco factory or cigar factory. My doctor, Freddy, used to live in this house. This used to be called La Loma Grande. When I was a kid, we used to roller skate down this hill. We thought it was the biggest hill in town. Well, in fact, it was. And this is the town's main park. On Sundays, everyone from the town gets together in the park. The girls walk around in one direction and the guys walk around in the opposite direction. This used to be the town's telephone company. Outside that door, there used to be a telephone booth. All phone calls had to be made from that booth since no one in the town had a telephone. This is the Parque Infantil, where all the kids used to come and play. The rides are still there, but as you can see, there's a lot of dirt on the ground. This used to be filled with sand, and everything was nicely painted. These are the very same slides that were there 33 years ago. It rains in Cuba very often, so you just have to wait it out. This used to be the town's workers' hall. It has now been converted into an art gallery. This building used to be the town's clothing store, but it's no longer that. I think it's now a residence. This used to be the taxicab stand. Believe it or not, many years ago, there were a lot of taxis parked right there under that tree. And this is the town's train station. This is the Plaza de Revolución. Fidel Castro used to give many of his speeches from this very same spot. It is also known as the Memorial José Martí. I've traveled all over the world, and the one thing that I did not see anywhere in Cuba was people begging for money. Cubans are proud, humble, and easygoing people. They just want to eat, dance, drink, and be happy. This is at La Bodeguita del Medio, the most famous bar in Cuba where Hemingway used to hang out and drink his mojitos.
voy contigo. ¿Tenés pasaporte? Allá está asegurado eso.
Cuba is a beautiful country filled with beautiful people. When you walk the streets of Havana, you will not feel threatened in any way. Everyone is very friendly and is happy to see you. I must admit that before I got to Cuba, I was a bit scared. I wasn't sure what I was going to see when I got here, but I really enjoyed it and I am glad that I came. There have been a lot of changes in Cuba. A lot of the changes that I saw, I would say, are positive. For instance, Cubans can now travel anywhere in the world so long as the country that they are visiting approves their visa. I can only hope and pray that at some point, Cuba and the United States are able to establish normal relations. This would be something that I know the Cuban people are looking forward to, as well as the Americans. I wish everyone watching this video had the opportunity to visit Cuba. You will feel like you're stepping back in time. It is an amazing place. As I get ready to leave Cuba, I am filled with sadness because I don't know when I will be back. I am first an American that happens to have been born in Cuba, but my roots will always lead me back to the land that I call home.